For as long as anyone could remember, a quaint thatch-roofed village nestled along the shores of a sparkling lagoon in the shadow of a great volcanic peak. This peaceful corner of the world was known as Placid Palms, a tiny resort community on the tranquil waters of Blustery Bay. The 20th century had brought a few modern touches. A little Key West style resort called the Placid Palms Resort catered to lucky vacationers, and a modest shrimping industry and fruit exporter kept the local economy humming. By day, fishermen cast their nets and fruit farmers packed crates of bananas and coconuts. By evening, tourists sipped rum cocktails under swaying palms as the sun dipped low. It was the picture of island paradise, sunny, serene, and safe. But all of that was about to change in the most dramatic way imaginable. One summer day, seemingly out of nowhere, the sky darkened over Placid Palms. The breeze died to an ominous calm, and the animals grew quiet. Villagers peered out to the sea and saw a wall of black clouds racing toward them. Hurricane warnings crackled over tinny radios, but it was too late. The rogue typhoon was nearly upon them. In local lore, some even gave this monstrous storm a name: Hurricane Connie. Said to have struck in 1955. Whether named or not, what everyone agrees on is that it was unlike any storm before. The typhoon roared across the bay and slammed into the island with a vengeance. For a full hour, the cyclone battered Placid Palms with relentless, furious force, catching a small fleet of ships by surprise and tossing them about like toy boats. Palm trees bent and snapped. Waves taller than buildings crashed ashore, flooding the streets. Whole fishing boats were lifted into the air by the howling winds. Villagers huddled in basements and behind whatever shelter they could find as debris whistled through the air. It felt like the very world was ending, in wind and water. Then, as suddenly as it began, the great storm passed. The wind stilled, the rain ceased. Those who endured that terrifying hour emerged to an eerie silence, broken only by dripping water and the sound of birds chirping. The people of Placid Palms looked around, and their breath caught in their throats. The village they knew had been utterly transformed forever. In the storm's wake, astonishing sights greeted the survivors. Nature had done some redecorating, to put it mildly. All around were the remnants of the storm's fury, frozen in place. A surfboard had been driven straight through the trunk of a towering palm tree, piercing it like an arrow. A small fishing boat was lodged through the roof of what used to be the village bait and tackle shop. A gigantic buoy, probably from some far-off harbor, had crashed through the wall of the town store, coming to rest half inside the building. An oil tanker ship had been carried inland and completely overturned in a newly formed inlet, its hull cracked open. Incredibly, that wreck would later become a reef teeming with tropical fish. More on that soon. Nearly every structure still standing was tilted or damaged. The elegant Placid Palms Resort Hotel, now renamed by necessity as the Leaning Palms, propped at a precarious angle and looking as if it might topple over any moment. The storm had literally tilted the entire building. The beautiful Emerald Bay itself was forever changed. The typhoon's chaos caused part of the shoreline to collapse, and a small harbor cove was cut off from the sea, trapping an overturned boat in the lagoon along with thousands of colorful fish, and even a few sharks that had been swept in from the distant seas. Those exotic fish would happily make this their new home, creating a curious tropical reef in a place no reef should be. And presiding over this scene of havoc was the single most iconic and unbelievable sight of all, the ship on the mountain. High atop the island's central volcano, a mighty peak known as Mount Mayday sat a 56-foot shrimp boat named Miss Tilly, impaled clean through its hull on the jagged mountaintop. The locals soon noticed that Mount Mayday had become restless ever since that boat got wedged in its crater. By some island magic, the volcano now tries to vent its frustration at having its unexpected plug. Roughly every 30 minutes, the mountain rumbles and a huge geyser of water erupts from Miss Tilly's smokestack, shooting nearly 50 feet into the air. Island lore claims the geothermal pressure under Mount Mayday is desperately trying to dislodge the ship, but Miss Tilly isn't budging. Surveying their wrecked homeland, the islanders realized that nothing would ever be the same. The paradise of placid palms was gone, but in its place was something oddly beautiful. An almost whimsical tropical boneyard of ships and surfboards, of waterfalls and rapids where there hadn't been before. Where destruction had struck, new natural features emerged. The storm had carved out new streams, pools, and waterfalls all over the island. It's as if Mother Nature decided to refashion the island into a giant water playground. The biggest change, however, was the villagers renaming their home Typhoon Lagoon, embracing the very force that upended their lives.